going to change the title of the video because I'm lazy and I totally forgot. We don't have Battlestar Galactica here today. It is gone, so I'm just going to change that title. And we should be good to go. So 2 seconds. All right, we have some folks here already. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Hopefully the audio and all that's good. I tested it beforehand. So odds are, knowing the way that YouTube works, it's going to glitch. It should be fine, actually. It should be good. It should be good. So if anything's too loud, not loud enough, let us know. Hey, Sonia, how are you? We've got Vintage Ale here as well. Todd Flowers. Dan of New Jersey. Holy cow was the first. I think he might have been. Kingston Dread. We got someone from Korea. I think that's Korean. I could be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm often wrong. We got one from Miami. Happy New Year to you too. Dano, or Dano, I'm not sure how. Dano, I guess. Thanks. Pablo. Welcome, folks. So today I thought, you know what? We've had a couple of hot days here. Well, actually, yesterday wasn't too bad, but I was going to do a live stream a couple of days ago, and it was just way too hot. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to wait till it cools down and then fire one up. It's like 2:30 p.m. here. So this is a bit of a different time to the time I would usually do a live stream, but I woke up at 11 a.m. this morning. How bad is that? 11 a.m. That was brutal. I went out and played last night, and yeah, we got to test Dr. Rick's new PRS guitar. So I've enabled him into buying a PRS as well. He absolutely loves it. It's crazy time. So got guys from LA here as well. Welcome, guys. That's Philip. What's up, Doc? From that's a cool name. From Vancouver Island. Awesome. Terry Bear, how are you, man? He's the moderator of the chat, and if anyone causes any grief, he lays the smack down. No, just kidding. It's usually pretty cool in here. I got my live stream comments here. Camera's there. This is the only way I can do this. So I'm going to basically upgrade my... Is my voice clipping or is it all right? I'm going to basically upgrade my live streaming rig. Not visually. I think it looks and sounds pretty good. I'm just going to have a screen behind the camera where I can look this way and see all the comments. It's big enough. My eyesight's not perfect anymore. All right, Alan from Portland. We've got Norda from New Zealand. Awesome. Hoshi Hearts Retro Gaming. What's up? Howdy. Cheddar King. Cheddar Kung. Sorry, I called you Cheddar King. That would be the Cheese King. So I went with Rick the other day. What day was it here? Was it Sunday here? No, it was Saturday. It was Saturday, and we decided that it was 43 degrees Celsius here, which is about 108 Fahrenheit, somewhere around there. Some parts of the city here got up to 46, so around 110, which is insane. And we decided the best thing to do on a day like that is to go to a guitar shop and let Rick play PRS guitars for 4 hours. He had the gas bad. He liked the sound of mine a lot. And then he also got to play a friend of mine, Ryan's guitar, who's also been on the channel as well. Great player. He's got a lot of great gear. And yeah, he was basically, he played his ass off on the PRS. It was unreal because he's a Telecaster guy, right? So he went from playing a Strat, which makes, it's like me playing a pointy guitar for Rick. It's just weird, you know, like he's a Telecaster guy. He got onto the PRS and he ripped it up. I hadn't seen him play like that. With that much intensity. Oh, he plays great, so don't take that the wrong way. He just made him play different, made him play with a whole lot more attitude. So I ended up getting this beautiful looking Custom 22. So I'm sure we'll do a video of that. I actually shot some live footage of him last night. We had a jam, so that's why I was out late. And yeah, whenever we do the demo, basically we'll be adding some live footage to that video as well. So it's pretty good. So we got Jamal, how are you, man? Lando 27 Music. Cool. So yeah, plenty of folks here already. I'm glad the voice is good. I'm using my wireless sort of setup here today. Webcam setup, but it seems to look good and hopefully it sounds good. So I was going to do like a podcast video coming up, just talking about what's coming up for the channel, but I'll give you a quick overview of what's coming up this year. I'm still going to be probably doing a lot of videos a week, not like 5 or 7 or anything like that, but I'm going to try and keep it to around 4 videos a week. I've got one coming up tomorrow, which is a video I've had requested a million times, like my new gear rundown, basically. So it's a long video, but buckle in for that one. I go over everything that I think I get asked a lot. So yeah, there's that. I upgraded my primary camera as well. So I'm going to be shooting with a Panasonic, which I've been using for a while, but I've got I sold some stuff, got a different Panasonic. So I've got 2 Panasonics and a Sony. So visually, the quality of the video should be to the next level, hopefully. That's the plan once I understand how to use it. I'm doing a collaboration video with Robert Baker coming up as well, who's a really lovely guy. We've been chatting a bit and we've come up with he's sort of come up with a really great idea for a video, and I thought, yeah, I'll be on board for that. So I think that'll be on his channel, but we may do something on mine as well. I got an idea that I'd love to run past him as well, so. That's why Todd moved from Indiana to Florida, because it's a hell of a lot warmer. Yeah, Florida's great, man. If I was to live in the States, as much as I'd love to live in Boston, I don't like cold weather, man. I could see myself moving somewhere warm. Yeah. Plus I've got a lot of friends in Florida as well. So yeah, this is the Little Crow. This is Little Crow Raven. I haven't sort of had this out for a little while. It's a really nice guitar. If you're interested in sort of seeing a bit more of the guitars in detail, check out the video that goes live tonight at about, well, it'll be tomorrow morning in the US, but it goes up in about 10 hours time or something like that, or 8 hours time, I should say. Jamal says, I've been waiting for my PRS Se. It's been on back order forever. Yeah, it's funny because I guess I'm like a social network kind of guy. I get tagged on everything now. So I reckon there's got to be about between 10 and 15 people who have tagged me on Instagram saying, hey, I just got this guitar thanks to your review. So yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. I think you'll love it, man. I love mine. I played it again last night. It's sitting right behind me here. So it's probably a little out of tune because I played it all night last night and had it in the geek bag, but we're going to, I might fire that up a little bit later, and I've got my Telecaster that needs a setup right back here as well. So these are the 3 guitars for this particular live stream, and the humbucker tone on this is just great. So what else is coming up on the channel? I've got a couple of more lockdown videos. That one that I just played right then will be on the next one. So yeah, I'm going to put together these like 3 to 5 minute videos. They're about 5 or 6 minutes tops, but showing you all of my cliche leaks. So that will force me to start doing new stuff. That's the plan. Have I ever played a Gibson ES339? I've never seen a lefty at all, ever. Yeah, those don't exist, I'm pretty sure. I love those guitars though. They're like a small 335 for those who don't know, and some of them have the coil tapping thing going on, so you can get, you know, different kinds of like split coil thing. They're a great guitar. If I ever saw an Epiphone one of them, I'd buy one, absolutely. I actually emailed Epiphone to say, like, what are you doing? Release these for lefties, they'll sell. Don't keep releasing the same stuff. I have a feeling like the problem with guitar companies in general, they'll release a range of guitars the same every year. So once all of the lefties have, you know, one of those, they don't need another one. So why do they keep just releasing the same stuff? Do I own any guitars with mini humbuckers? I have one. I've got a Little Crow Corvino, which is the same company as this. It's got a neck mini humbucker in it, but a Telecaster bridge pickup. just on the down low secret information. I'm talking to Dave about something similar to this with mini humbuckers, the guy that makes this, because I think that would be a really cool electric. So hopefully the guitar's loud enough. I'm just going to back my levels off. I see a red light over there. That's why I asked if I was clipping, but 5 or 6 minute videos are good for Sonia's extended attention span. Yeah. So my rig gear rundown thing, you're not allowed to say rig rundown, otherwise you get a copyright infraction. Goes for about 40 minutes. So it took me like a whole day to upload. What do I think of the company Tech 21? I think Tech 21 make great stuff. I've had one of their amps, which was a trademark 60 with 212s. Really great amp, solid state. You could pretty much get everything out of it. They're kind of like the innovators in terms of direct recording. So straight from a pedal into an interface. There's no company that does that better in terms of analog gear, other than Joyo. And they're like 40 bucks. Yeah. Shane, I'm gassing so bad for a Tokai Les Paul. Where's the best place to buy a high quality Japanese one for a guy who only speaks English? It depends where you live. I don't know where you are, but you can get them all over. They're really easy to come by in Australia. I wouldn't be too surprised if the Japanese websites had a lot of people that spoke English that you could work with to order one from there. The only problem is the CITES thing. You know, you're going to have to try to... There might be extended fees on importing them. So the best way is to go into a used guitar shop, like somewhere that just sells used guitars. In Australia, at least, there's usually always a few Japanese guitars around. And don't discount like guitars like Bernie as well. Orville, all these kind of guitars, they're really, really good. Very similar sort of quality. Yeah, so the PRS guitars must be flying off the shelf, man. There, I actually played another one the other day. I played a red one that's technically supposed to be the same as that, except it had a painted back of the neck. That one's just like a high gloss, and it weighed like almost twice as much. So there's definitely slight variations in their guitars. There's no doubt about it. I don't think it sounded any different, but it definitely felt different in the hand, probably just because of the weight. So I might have missed some questions here, guys. Feel free to ask again. Mr. C says, "What was the name of the tally jack replacement you did?" So I did a video on that. I can't remember the exact title of the brand, but if you just type in Fender tally jack replacement, you should see my video, and then type in INTHEBLUES, it should come up. Odds are it'll have the brand in there. It's been a long time since I did that video, so I don't recall. But basically, you take out the crappy jack that's in a tally normally, the one that always decides that it wants to come loose and fall out, and you replace it with one of these. So what this one does is you keep the actual input part of the jack, and then you screw this particular one down into the wood, and then screw it in with some screws here, and it never moves, it never comes loose. It's by far the best $3 you can ever spend on a Telecaster, no doubt about it. I think I just saw someone ask about Tally Tuesdays. I think we're out of Telecasters. Right now, at least, anyway. I'm going to take a brief break from shooting gear demos. I've still got more to finish, basically, but I'm not going to grab anything from Sky for probably another week, and then I can probably get some more. And I know Ryan's got some Telecasters as well, so I might have to see if we can convince him to come down for some more Tally Tuesdays. That is an interesting question. So Jeffrey says, Shane, where did you study music? The school of CDs and albums and tapes and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of the licks I got were from this guy, from Clapton. You know, I learned a lot of that he was the main inspiration for me to want to play blues. In terms of electric blues, you know, then it led into a lot of these other guys on the wall. That's pretty much what this wall is. But yeah, I think Clapton's blues was my favorite. I heard an album of his called From the Cradle, and it was that moment I went, you know what, this is what I want to learn. I mean, Knopfler was a huge influence, but I never really picked up any of his stuff because it was way too hard. Sounds easy, but it wasn't to get into. So yeah, a lot of that. You know, all these little claps. I got a lot of delay on, sorry guys. Yeah, I just pinched a lot of Clapton. That wasn't all Clapton stuff, but that kind of thing anyway. So yeah, a lot of it was just videos. I got a video called Matt Smith, A Guide to Blues Guitar, and that's a really great video to get into. And then you just kind of piece your way through stuff that you like the sound of and try to work that out. All right, thoughts on Gretsch guitars. Yeah, I like Gretsch guitars. They're a little too big for me physically. They don't, like, I'm not a tall guy, and if you saw that photo on Instagram that I posted from New Year's Eve, I mean, Dr. Rick and all those Ryan's like 6'3", and all the other guys in that photo are like 6 foot, and I'm the only short ass in the shot. But for me to play Gretsch guitar, like a full-bodied, you know, White Falcon, it looks ridiculous. It's a great guitar, and it sounds cool, and it has a lot of vibe, but it's just way too physically big. I actually like their, what was it called? The Corvette. The Corvette sort of suits my style and playing a lot more than some of those larger Gretsch guitars, there's no doubt about it. Are you sure Dr. Rick didn't buy you a new Tele yet? You know what? That's from Hutch. How are you, man? That particular black Telecaster that was in Sky is sold now too, the black custom shop one. So someone obviously saw the video and went, yeah, I can afford that and I want it. So Dan NJ says, what was the black Tele used on the compressor demo? That was the Relic, it's called a 52 Heavy Relic custom shop Telecaster. Beautiful guitar. I've done a video of that, if you type in Tele Tuesdays in the blues, it'll come up with the actual demo of that. And man, what a great sounding guitar. I had that for a few days here and it was unbelievable. Just unbelievable. It's the best sounding Telecaster I've ever played. Easily. All right, so one guitar, one amp on a desert island, what would you take? Ooh. I'll have to think about that. It would have to be a Fender amp. Yeah, maybe a... I don't own one, but I really love deluxe reverbs. I still think they're a really great amp. They're just not loud enough for a lot of the places that I play at, unfortunately. You mic them up, of course, but you don't always have that luxury. I'm not that fussy when it comes to amps as much as what I was before. I think, like, I love my Blues Deluxe. I think that's some of the best tone I've ever had. I love my PV Bandit as well. You know what? Maybe the Bandit, just to confuse all the tube guys out there. Ever thought about getting a real preamp pedal to build an entire pedal board around, ever going directly into a PA? Yeah, I've done all that stuff. Look, going direct to a PA is fine if you've got the right setup and a good sound guy and a good PA system and good foldbacks and all that kind of stuff. There was a gig I was doing for a while where the stage was right in front of where everybody ate. So you literally had to carry everything up above your head to get onto the stage, plonk it down, because there were people eating dinner right in front of the stage. So we decided the best way to do this is not take any amps in. And we basically all played direct into the PA system. So we all had Joyo amp simulator pedals. So the Fender ones were the ones that we liked the best. So we take them, plug direct into the PA. Same with the bass as well. Drums were very low key. And I remember the guy that owned the venue said that's the best volume we've ever had any band. It was weird to play like that because your instinct is, I don't have any sound behind me. So you got to have fallbacks and you got to have them pointing back at you and just pray that the sound out the front is going to be good. But in terms of, you can get around that. There's a lot of other technology out there where you can get around it. The 2 notes is one option as well. You got the Kempers. The Line 6 Helix does that extremely well as well. A lot of people who haven't tried that probably dismiss it, but it does it really, really well. I've tried one live. Dr. Rick's got one, and it sounds unreal, and it feels good to play too. A lot of his Tally Tuesday videos were shot with the Line 6 Helix. We intentionally didn't tell anyone what we were using just to see what people thought of the sound. So that was a deluxe reverb reference with a Klon or a tube screamer, one or the other on a lot of those videos. So they do sound good. I do need to make 2 pedal boards, one for mainly battery powered and the other for battery powered. Any suggestions, anyone? Need to make 2 pedal boards, one for mainly battery powered and another one for battery powered. You might want to ask that question again, man. I'm not too sure what you mean. Where's the electricity on this desert island? Yeah. Well, that's a good question. I never thought of that actually. Maybe it's solar. And I would also take a cable over a pedal if we're going into specifics, because if we don't have a cable and we've got a great amp and great guitar, we can't listen to it. That's bridge pickup. This is like out of phase. Out of phase both pickups, and then we've got both pickups. This is my favorite position on this. Mark says, loving the bias effects on the iPad. My pedal board is under the couch now. Yeah, that bias effects is pretty good there. The one thing about it is if you've got an old computer, it doesn't always work well, but if you've got a relatively new computer, stuff is great. I mean, that's what when I do like jam clips on Facebook Live, just with my phone, I use bias on my Mac because it's just too easy to use. It's really cool. All right, so 2 10s or 1 12. I have an important decision to make very, very soon. Oh, look, there's pros and cons of both. And I'm just going to say this as a general rule, and this is just my opinion and experience. A single 12 will be louder, or you'll have more headroom with that than 2 10s, generally. Maybe not all of the time, but the good thing about 12-inch speakers is there's lots of high-rated wattage speakers out there and really efficient speakers. Like the Swamp Thing's one of them. It's like 103 decibels, which is really, really loud. I don't think you can find speakers that are that efficient in 10s. There's something about a 2 10s amp, though, that sounds really punchy and cool. It's kind of like a half super reverb. You know, you got the Vibrolux and amps like that, and the Music Man RD210 and all that are just phenomenal amps. And it almost just depends on, if you're just talking about speaker cabinet, like if you're just going to buy a speaker box, it's just a personal choice, man. Which do you prefer? If it was me, I'd probably buy a single 12, just because I've had more favorable experiences with 12-inch speakers over the years than 10s. But everyone likes different stuff. So if you're looking for more of a jangly sound with less bass, probably go for the 10s. If you want, the 12-inch speakers can cover almost everything. There's lots of amps, lots of speakers out there that won't have a whole lot of low end. They have a lot of tops, really mid-heavy speakers like the Texas Heat, which kind of takes out a little bit of top end, kind of extends the lower mids area. You've just got a lot of options, and a lot of classic options too. Like even a vintage 30. Like I don't necessarily like those speakers a whole lot, but in the right situation with the right amp, you wouldn't want to use any other speaker. So yeah, it just depends on what you're into. Have I played a Crate 1512? I don't think I have, man. That's from Pablo. No. I find bias is noisy. I haven't tried. I haven't had that experience. I just know when you use it on a computer that can't handle it properly, you get a lot of artifacts in the sound. Like you'll actually hear it glitch. That's not software so much as it is hardware. And then you'll generally have to adjust your latency within the actual drivers, because if you've got the latency too low, so when you play, you hear it straight away. It puts a whole lot more demand on the computer, and if it's an old computer, it won't be able to handle that. So if you adjust that to make it less real time or slower, so you'll still hear it, but it will kind of be delayed. Then it should free up a bit of CPU. So give that a go and see if it helps. We've got Jan from the SF Bay Area. How are you? One of my favorite places to hang out. Greetings from Turkey. Do you know anything about Petty John Iron? No. I haven't heard that name before. Sorry, man. How about Supro guitars? I think they look good. You know, Supro is not a brand I've had a lot of experience with in terms of being able to play them, because they're always right-handed guitars. But I've seen them around. I think I commented on it with the last Guitar Search Saturday. We saw some at one of the guitar centers, and I was like, there's something really cool about these guitars visually. They're retro looking. They're kind of like your favorite bits of everything. They remind me a little bit of a Gretsch, a little bit of a Fender Telecaster, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So they've got lots of stuff in there that make them really appealing. I don't know if they actually make lefties or not. I just haven't seen any anywhere. I'll have to shoot Jerry an email, see if he's got any coming in. So yeah, Supro guitars, I definitely like to check them out at some point. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to do that at all. Other than just look at them and go, oh yeah, there's another guitar I can't play because it's upside down. Let's grab this tuner before we make some noise. The only issue I have with the PRS Se, and it's got nothing to do with the guitar, every time, because the gig bag's nice and tight, every time you put the guitar in, it moves the tuners. Actually, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. So yeah, I've been playing this guitar to death, as you can probably tell, but so that's bridge. It's just so easy to play. Scored a PV Express 112 for free. That's from chat. That is awesome. Well done. Cool. I get a lot of questions about a lot of older PV amps, like the specials and all that. I haven't played them all, but I've either seen them in shops or I've seen someone play one but not played them myself. That, I think, is one of the ones that I've never played. But yeah, it's probably really similar to a PV, no doubt about it. Woo! Single coil mode. Single coil neck. So in terms of the pedal, I'm using the just the Pride of Texas with everything at 12 o'clock, I'm pretty sure. The gain's not even at 12 o'clock, it's at 11. So I'm using that, and I'm using the Wampler Tape Echo, which doesn't seem to be making a whole lot of noise. So that leads me to believe maybe my power in the other power supply is not good. That sounds all right. Thought I'd add a bit of delay today to the sound. Kind of mixes it up. Sounds better when you're playing on your own. So Jamal, you'll love the guitar, man. It's an absolute beast. That's awesome. Good stuff. So yeah, for those who have just joined, check out my gear rundown video. It's coming up in about 8 hours or 10 hours or something. Put a lot of work into that. It's long, but if you get time, check it out. I go over all the amps, guitars, all that kind of stuff, and speakers and everything. So hopefully I covered most of the stuff in that video. Do I have 10s on the PRS? I do. I kept it 10s. It was 9s, I think, when I first picked it up, and they were way too light, but the 10s feel really good. The 10s just sort of, I don't know, I'm almost thinking about just leaving my Tally and Strat with 11s and maybe moving everything back to, oh, and then maybe the little Crow guitars too, but moving everything else back to 10s. So 335, Les Paul, keeping this 10s and all that kind of stuff. What's my, oh sorry, just got my Blues Junior based on one of my reviews. Sorry, the chat just scrolled. Let me go back up. Any suggestions on a speaker upgrade? If you're going to be playing it live, put a high headroom speaker in there, so get the loudest speaker you can find. I would, if I was to buy another Blues Junior, I would put an Eminent Swamp Thing in there. You'll still have the Fender vibe, but it will have way more volume. It will have way more low end. You might sacrifice a little bit of mids, but overall it will be huge. So my suggestion is when you run that amp, turn up the mids, maybe to 3 o'clock possibly with that speaker. Turn the bass down to about 10 o'clock, and then shape the top end to the room that you're playing in. I think that's, people always go, well, what are your settings? Well, it depends where I play. You know, it really does. Depends on the floorboards situation, if they're floorboards or carpet, or where the amp is, all that kind of stuff. So top end is subjective to wherever you play. But that said, the Texas, I love the Texas Heat speaker. I'm a huge fan. I reckon that would work really well in a Blues Junior as well. A friend of mine had a Cannabis Rex in his. A really good speaker choice as well. Maybe not as loud as the other two suggestions. So they both would be a good choice, in my opinion. What's the favorite guitar that I've got? Well, favorite kind of goes, it goes in waves for me. Like I'm all motivated to play one, and then I'm all motivated to play another one. I don't really have one that I would, the one that, the one that I would consider my all-time favorite is the 52 Tele. Based on, you know, I'm not wanting to get into the whole like sentimental value kind of thing, but that kind of has a little bit for me. That's maybe the only guitar that I've got that has that sort of, you know, I bought it while I was away. I had a really great trip overseas, and that's what I picked up. So, and I got to use it while I was over there and all that kind of stuff. So that would be my favorite all-round guitar, but in terms of what I'm playing the most at the moment, this. And that goes to show, like, I'm a huge fan of Japanese guitars. I've owned Chinese guitars and all that in the past as well. This is unbelievable. Like, and what was really eye-opening for me too was when I spent 4 hours with Rick the other day testing out PRSs, right? Everything from these to, you know, the high-end stuff, and we picked up and played everything. There's not a huge difference in tone between this and the actual full-blown PRS. Visually, they're different, of course, all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that this is a better guitar than those in those kind of ways, but just in terms of tone and feel, nothing wrong with these, man. Play this. I actually, the video that I'm about to release, I go into more detail about what I would take to a gig and why. A little bit of that kind of conversation as well. So yeah. PRS fingerboard looks wide across. Yeah, it's got the 24 frets, so you can get up to this, you can hit that BB King thing there. Last night we were playing in, was it B maybe? I'm still getting used to playing like past where I'm used to, so you know, you can kind of get up into those slide notes. So yeah, it does feel different. The first hour or so, I kept thinking 12 was probably here, or something. Like visually, I was a little bit thrown. But after that, I didn't even try to think about these frets. That's the way I look at this guitar now. I see 12 as 12, and if I'm ever feeling stupid enough to get all the way up here, then that's what I'll do. But I don't go out of my way to just play that high, because it does. It really gets tough. I can't play. I can't play as tidy or as easily up here as I could, like. So there's a lot of clangers, that's what we call them here, clangers, bad notes. One thing about this guitar that I'm really digging is both pickups. It's not a combination that I would use a lot normally. It's kind of like just the best of both worlds. You get the tops, but all right, Jake, I gotta read this one out. This is great. So Jake said, I got my 24 custom lefty Trampus green last week and I love it. I must have watched your video 20 times while waiting for it to arrive. Awesome, congrats. Much like, this is what Dr. Rick said to me the other day. He didn't give PRS guitars the time of day, and neither did I. I was like, yeah, they're probably trying to do something that... See, this is the misconception. I think a lot of people assume they're going to do like what a Les Paul does or what a Telecaster does or Strat or something, but they just do something different. And that's the way I approached it finally. Like, this is just maybe going to be a different sort of guitar. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. The only one small thing, and I mentioned this to Rick too, because he's a huge fan of single coil pickups. And I said to him, you just got to get ready when you play singles, like split coil, and then you go to humbucker mode, it's quite a lot louder. So you just got to kind of get used to that. It's, you know, I think the split coil things are really great for that rhythm sound. And then you, oh, that was split. That was humbucker. Then when you want a solo, just click it back down, you know. Mr. C, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate that, man. So overall, dude, you're gonna love the guitar. I'm glad the video was helpful. I tried my best to make a video that I think should have covered most of the things that people wanted to know about it. I got some good news too. So tomorrow, I'm getting together with Drew, my friend and the drummer, from drewsdrumtracks.com. Mate of mine, we jammed last night. And we're going to film some behind the scenes recording process at his place. I'm going to shoot a whole lot of, or record a whole lot of new backing tracks for the channel with real drums and bass and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to record that process and try to get it live. And then, you know, I'll basically, the videos for 2018 will have different, maybe not all the time, but they should have a lot of different intro clips as well. Drew was the drummer on a lot of that stuff anyway, but this should be pretty cool. This should be pretty cool. I think I've got a few ideas for songs and feels that I want to play that aren't just all blues. There's going to be some blues in there, but there'll be feels that Drew nails to the nth degree, you know, like he's the king of those sort of these kind of shuffles, you know, there's that sort of you know, what's it called? Triplicate, whatever the term is for it. So yeah. So we're gonna have some fun doing that. I'll record that and maybe put up a video about that behind the scenes kind of thing. I've actually recorded more of my album, the JJ Cale sort of tribute album thing that I've been working on. That video I've kind of cut up. It should be up in the next couple of weeks. I just need to make it a whole lot less boring. So I'm going to cut out some sections. I rewatched it and went, it's just way too long. So Tracy C says, I have a Swamp Thing in my Deluxe 112 Plus. Oh, awesome. And I love it in there. The Red Stripe Bandit has the original Sheffield speaker and I love it in there too. Yeah, the original Bandit speakers are good. I think I had a lot of people sort of go buy those amps and they're like, oh, I don't know if I like it. And know, playing it at bedroom volumes, I'm like, dude, turn it up. Like, turn it up and experiment with the tone controls. The actual stock speakers are really good. It's just those Eminence speakers are just so much more efficient and loud. It's the best tonal upgrade you can make, and I can only imagine how great it sounds in a Deluxe Plus 112. I love those amps. I think they're as good as the PV Bandits, and the stock speakers are great in there too, actually. So that would be even better. Hey Wade, how are you, man? Doing well, thanks. Play some nasty funk. Whoo! I don't know if I can. Let's get on the bridge pickup here. Last night we actually played a song, I don't know what that was by the way, it was just improv, but we played yeah, so that's cool. Alright, so Cheddar says, note that the 2017/2018 model SE guitars have much better pickups than the older ones. Yeah, actually Rick bought one of the older ones for one of his kids. He was talking about maybe possibility of putting, whether or not he can get these pickups anywhere, but he was saying maybe he should just put them in the other guitar. And I said, why not? Because they sound killer. And he also sort of said to me, like, I think this has been brought up on a few conversations, but it's like PRS shot themselves in the foot because these are great, you know, like, and I'm glad they're great. And I said to him, I don't think they have. Maybe it wasn't Rick, maybe it was someone else I was talking to last night. I can't remember who it was, but basically, I said, I think it's in their sort of best business sort of sense to release guitars that are great at all price points. I don't see how that can hinder their sort of sales or anything. So I think it would just be a good thing. Because if you look at Fender, they've got, you know, 15 different models of everything there. They really do. They have one of everything at every price because not everyone wants to spend this and that. And I almost said to the guys, like, maybe they'll release something between this and the one Rick's got at some point. You know, you never know. That's maybe how it could go. Have I ever played a PRS Se? I haven't. I don't know if there's any lefty CEs. None that I can recall seeing. Seeing custom 22s, 24s and all that, but a CE, no. They look good though. Mate, which all-tube Fender amp do you like better that's still in production? Deluxe Reverb 65 or 68? So out of those, the 65, absolutely. Hot Rod Deluxe or Blues Deluxe? I like the Blues Deluxe for my particular type of sound. If you like a smoother sound, it's maybe more modern, straight off the shelf, the Hot Rod Deluxe is the way to go. If you don't use any pedals, I'd probably say the Hot Rod Deluxe is the way to go. If you do use pedals, you can go either way, but the stock speaker in these amps isn't good in my opinion. Rip it out and put something else in there, it'll sound a million times better. I actually bought a Studio Pro 35 a while back. Studio Pro 35, yeah. A 2-rock amp. And I put it up against mine with a Swamp Thing speaker. I reckon this sounded better. So, yeah, the speaker upgrade makes a massive difference. But you can use that as a rough guide. Like if you're just going to go straight into the shop, which one sounds probably more pleasing to the ear? The Hot Rod Deluxe would. Which one's going to stick out more in the mix? One of these. They've got a different kind of vibe. A lot of people think they're the same, but with a tweed cover, but that's not the case at all. So Terry Bear says, I believe you can buy those new pickups from them. Oh, cool. All right, I'll let him know. Thanks, man. Dave says, oh, sorry, D. Snave says, I called you Dave. Go Eyesight. Hello from North Carolina. I saw your open jam video with the PRS. You killed it. Your tone was smoking. Thanks, man. It was a little brighter than I thought it would be because we call that side of the stage the black hole because you need to sort of turn up 20% more to be heard out the front. And so I just cranked it up. Supposedly I was a little, maybe a bit too loud, but you know, that's what happens. But yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. All right, so in terms of speaker voicing, like the speakers that I'm talking about are best suited in American sort of voiced amplifiers, and you know, like your Fenders and all that kind of stuff. If you're into the British rock kind of stuff, you probably don't want to go for an American style speaker. You want to go for something like a Creamback or a Greenback or any of those, like WGS ET65s or 80s or whatever. All that kind of stuff is probably better suited in for British rock and all that kind of stuff. It's a very different sort of sound. The British rock sounds a little more squishy. Stupid term to use, but it doesn't have that big round full sound like, you know, your Boogie on Clean or your Fender Clean. It's a different sort of sound. It's a bit softer sounding. Not in volume, in like audible volume, but just in terms of tonality. Trying my best to explain that in the cork sniffer terms here. All right, this is from Dr. Dank. Hey, subscribed to your stuff a while ago, and it's great. Just wanted to ask you, what would you say a beginner jazz/blues player should do? Buy some lessons, and you don't necessarily even need to buy lessons from a person. Buy like a video, a beginner's guide to jazz, blues, whatever. Beginner's guide to guitar. My suggestion would be this: if you want to learn jazz and blues, buy the beginning, you know, as the most basic video you can buy in any of those genres. Don't go buying like some dude who's playing acoustic guitar. It's going to bore you to tears. Or don't go buying like a guide to pub covers and, you know, classic rock and all that. So. I'm thinking of the wrong song. Hang on. Oh, what? Hang on. Yeah, you're not going to waste your time with the classic rock sort of stuff if you want to play jazz and blues. So, while it can help your musicality, I think you'd be best suited just buying a beginner's guide to whatever style of music. That's what I did. I was like, I'm not going to waste my time learning stuff I'm not interested in. Just I got the beginner's guide to blues guitar from Matt Smith. Taught me a lot about chords, how to play, when not to play. Really, really simple licks to get you started, which I can still recall probably 80% of those, as well as more complicated stuff. And some of the stuff I still play today was out of that video. Excuse me for a moment. It's getting hot in here. The reason a lot of people don't end up sticking at guitar is because they're getting taught stuff they don't want to learn. It's funny, you'll pick pieces, when you learn on your own, you pick pieces out of stuff, and then all of a sudden a door opens and you go, oh, that's why that works. That's awesome. I didn't realize like this was because of that. There are shortcuts around that, of course, but get onto YouTube as well. There's so much good lessons out there. You know, if you're sort of if you've been playing a while, there's guys like Texas Blues Alley, Anthony from there. He does great lessons, like really cool. He'll cover all the stuff from Albert King. Then he's got all that Stevie stuff that he does all that. You know, and then all that stuff, the Hendrixy stuff. Yeah, so you know, you'll pick out bits and pieces of stuff that you'll learn along the way, but just stick at the easy stuff first. That's what I would say, and get it under your fingers before you move on. Just work at little bits at a time. All right. Cheddar Kung says, just watch my 3 easy steps to mastering the blues video. Quick and easy, and you'll get there in no time. Cool. There's a bit of a shout out for you, man. I'll have to check that out myself. Sunshine of Your Love. Yeah, you know, when I went through the Clapton phase, I learned a lot of his stuff. Also a lot of the stuff that I play over the Delta Blues, a lot of that sort of feel was, you know, off the Unplugged album, all that. I can't really, I think that's where that came from. Before you accuse me. Yeah, so that's where that sort of came from. Yeah, Albert King is my favorite blues guitarist. In terms of just attitude and funk, and, you know, he said a lot with what he did. You know, he's got the thing I love about Albert, he used to do these big bends, right? Everyone knows him for that sort of like. Then he does this one where you bend up and then you hit the note and you come back down. So you're sort of double stopping the E and the B. And get on the bridge here. Yeah, he's just got all of that stuff like best thing about the blues is the phrasing. You know, if you can try to pace yourself and do it in a way where you just sort of, you know, you got a phrase of something you're saying on the guitar, it's really cool fun. That's what I love about it. Jamal says, Texas Blues, Ali has a great lessons and methods on how to break things down. Absolutely, he's great at what he does. I reckon he's arguably the best on YouTube for blues. There's not many other guys I can think of that do blues like him. So, don't play any John Mayer. No. Don't worry about that. His LLC are a bunch of pricks. They flagged a video where I wasn't even playing anything off any of his albums. It was just a take on an idea that he had, and because it had his name in the title. That was it. They flagged it. They're a bunch of assholes. Did you get into the Derek and the Domino stuff? Not as much. No, I liked more of the stuff where, you know, Eric was sort of older. You know, I don't know what it was. I just liked that blues a whole lot more. Sort of from the 80s onwards. There's a double disc of his that's really, really good. It's got the best version of Double Trouble on there. There's lots of just like he's playing a Strat and he's just doing these really subtle like really nice sort of touch stuff, you know. And yeah, and then it sort of gets going, but it's got to be one of the slowest slow blues ever. It's really great. It's called Eric Clapton The Blues double CD or something like that. Check it out. It's black cover anyway. It's got his him playing the Blackie guitar on it. Breaking Up Somebody's Home is one of the best blues songs ever. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. I love that tune. Luther Allison. Oh, man. You know what? I didn't see that guy. I didn't hear about him or anything until about 10 years ago. And my friend had a CD of his on, and I was like, who's this? It's like, oh, that's Luther Allison. I was like, what? Who? I didn't have any idea of who he was. And then I remember it was around the time like iTunes was sort of, maybe it wasn't quite 10 years ago. Maybe it was. I don't know. But it was some of the first music I ever bought on iTunes was Luther Allison. This guy can sing and play. He's got the vibe. Another guy to check out too. I kind of like him. He's a little bit cliche in his playing, but there's lots of great vibe going on. Check out Smokey Wilson. He's like a an old, I don't think he's around anymore, unfortunately. He's got a song called Burn Down LA, and it's not what you think it is. It's not a negative kind of connotation or whatever. But anyway, that's the name of the song. It's like flooding down in Texas or something. You know, it's that sort of vibe. He's just kind of shifted the words around. He's good value as well. Melvin Taylor's another one you should check out too. He looks like Barack Obama. Guy can play his ass off, man. Just unbelievably good. He plays a 335 delay pedal and a wah. I think that's his rig. And man, the dude has chops. He's very much in the same sort of vein as Chris Kane in a way. Not maybe as he's probably got more he's got more attitude than Chris Kane in terms of, you know, he gets more into a Hendrixy kind of vibe, but he's a very jazzy kind of player as well, and very fluid. That's what I'm trying to get at. Very fluid player like Chris. So check him out. He's Melvin Taylor. Pezboy60 says, I got my Trampus Green 24 SE for Christmas. You should have been paid commission for the sale. It's all right, man. It's all good. I'm glad you like it. That's awesome. So when I put my opinions out there and people can, you know, I'm accountable for what I say about stuff too. So, you know, not everybody's, I've had one person that said their guitar didn't turn up right to them. I think they had it shipped to their house. It had a couple of scratches and stuff on it. I'm like, dude, look at this thing. Find a fault with it. You know, like I went and picked this up from a shop. I think you run the risk anytime you have something mailed to you that it's not going to be right or might not play right and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, that said, I did adjust the intonation in the end. It was a little bit out. But these are things that you do on any guitar. You buy a Gibson, you buy a PRS top end one, you may have to make some tweaks if it's flown over 15,000 miles overseas, you know. So these are things that you got to just do on guitars occasionally. So yeah, great stuff. I'm glad you're digging it. Luther Allison has a Little Red Rooster cover. The song I really like of his is Dirty Pool. He does that cover of that, and it's really cool. But yeah, check him out. He's an interesting singer. Sometimes I really love his voice, and other times I don't. But he's a good singer. Like, he's not bad by any means. It's just his voice sort of works really great in some songs, and okay in others. But oh, that's Luther Allison. Sorry, I'm thinking of Melvin Taylor. So Luther Allison. Sorry, I'm going to correct that and delete that off the live stream. Sings his ass off in every song. So I got mistaken there. I misread. Any Cream stuff you like? Yeah. That's kind of the same thing. I still prefer Clapton's solo stuff over Cream, and I know that's sacrilegious to a lot of people, but that's just what I prefer because that's what I listen to more. Guys that are older than me will probably like the Cream stuff more, and that's understandable too. It's, I mean, his playing was great. I find, like, you know, some of the, I don't know what it is. I like Clapton's subtlety more than I like in-your-face electric guitar, and I'll take that over really busy guitar players any day of the week. And Cream was such a big sound and unique and all that, and I get it. But it's like Stevie Ray for me. I can't listen to a lot of it all at once. I can listen to it in bits, but I can't just sit through a show of ripping electric guitar all night like that. I'd rather listen to Knopfler play because it gives your ears a bit of a break. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's just me. You know, your action is good when you stop thinking or worrying about it. Well said. Yeah, I didn't have to adjust the action at all. I just had to adjust the intonation. I haven't thought about it since, so you're absolutely right. DJ Way Jr. says, hi, what do you think about Oral Dream pedals? The name is ridiculous. But other than that, you know what? Their analog pedals aren't half bad. It's just their newer digital pedals. They're almost all faulty. I think they're just really noisy pedals. I was unable to film them in my room at all because they just made god-awful ticking noises and all of that stuff. If you want to see my video on that, go punch in DJ White Noise. And that was my attempt at humor. It was awful. I went back and forth with them. They're like, oh, you got to try it in a different amp. Dude, I've got a friggin' super reverb. I had a deluxe reverb, and I got a Fender Blues Deluxe. What kind of amp does this work in? Try a low-powered amp. All right, so I plugged it into something else. Like, it still makes this noise. Try a different power supply. So I tried, you know, I've got enough gear here to, I know what I'm doing, basically, after 20 years. Or however long it's been. I haven't been doing YouTube for that long, but, you know, I've been recording a long time, and I said to them, these are faulty. I'm not going to put them up on my channel. Oh, you know, blah, blah. They tried to guilt me into it. So I sort of thought to myself, you know, screw these guys. I'm going to put up DJ white noise, because they, you know, you click delay on it and all you could hear was dum, 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 dum. And I thought, hey, this is kind of like a techno beat. So let's make a video about that. And I didn't really tag them in it or anything like that. It was just like, here's a video. So the analog pedals work fine. I don't think they're spectacular, but I don't think they're bad. There's probably worse pedals than them out there. They're just visually, they're very loud. They're, you know, bright colors and all that. I don't know, it's not that bad, but the point is, stay clear of some of their digital stuff. Not all of it's bad, right? I think I had a reverb pedal that was all right. It had like no noise or anything, but the ones that are in that DJ white noise video, I don't even know what I'm going to do with them. They're still in the cupboard. I should just throw them out, give them away or something. Any fans of Jerry Garcia? I don't know much of his stuff, to be honest. I probably do if I hear it. I'm really bad when it comes to names. You probably see me always go, oh, what's his name again? And then I'm going to look back here. Oh, yeah, that guy. So it's pretty bad when it comes to, I'm pretty bad when it comes to names. Peter says, g'day Shane, finally caught a live show. Cool, welcome man. Yeah, I thought I'd mix it up today, try a different time, and see how we go. Sunshine of Your Love, Cream, yeah, it's a cool song. That's another one that I think Clapton sort of played into the ground. You know, there's a few songs of his I have to skip. Even his covers of, like, I'm a huge J.J. Cale fan, man. I love J.J. Cale, but I can't. Oh. I'm sort of like a little bit over that song now. Like as good as it was, I can't stand that anymore. I haven't played that for a long time either. So. Oh, I got no whammy bar. I took it off. I was reaching for the whammy, but it's not there. All right. Good beginner interface for recording. My suggestion would be to just get something that's not junk. So get a known brand, get a Steinberg. I got a UR22 over here. It's nothing flash, nothing cheap either, but it's just right in the middle. It's a 2-input one. It's called the UR22 MK2. That's good. You can get any of those Focusrite ones as well. Yeah, I just buy a brand that's stood the test of time, because I think you'll not be disappointed. They'll be supported for years when operating systems change. Some of them become obsolete because the companies don't follow up on making new drivers, or they're really glitchy, or they take forever to update their drivers, which then forces you to go back to the old operating system. So suggestion is, yeah, one of those two. The Focusrite stuff are good. The Steinberg stuff is good. You can get away with some of the M Audio stuff, but I've owned one. I've actually got one. I've retired it because I found it more unreliable, way more unreliable than this particular unit right here. So, yeah, that would be my suggestion. After Midnight is impossible to listen to. I cannot do it. Yeah, look, I like JJ's version, because the thing with JJ Cale, right, this is the difference. JJ Cale would play After Midnight, say he played it 100 times a year. He'd play it 100 different ways in a year. He played acoustically with a completely different groove. He'd come in with the third verse first. You know, he just didn't care. He's got a version of Cocaine that he released, and it's like 5.5 minutes of rhythm guitar before he starts singing, and then he sings for like, he always mixed it up. I like that. I think sometimes the predictability factor of some of these other guys, it kind of bores me. Yeah, and that's pretty much how I feel about Sunshine of Your Love. I feel like that song's been just done to death, and there's almost not a lot of inspiration for the people playing it because they do it every single night. So Dave says, D Snave. I keep calling you Dave. Dave, D Snave. I'm going to call you Dave Snave. Says, what's my signal chain? So guitar, Pride of Texas Overdrive, Dan Electro pedal, Wampler Tape Echo, Fender Blues Deluxe, 2 Notes Torpedo Live, sound card. And my voice is by this little, I got the Kamika wireless pack and my Rode microphone here. That's horrible. Sorry, guys. Roland are good. Yeah, Roland make a lot of good stuff. Roland, Zoom also makes some stuff that's good. I know Rode have just released a sound card. Rode's a great microphone company. Although I haven't used one of their products in terms of the new sound cards, they only came out about 2 weeks ago. Odds are they're going to be great. Rode don't make a whole lot of junk. They've only really released 1 or 2 items ever that weren't really that good. The rest of their stuff is awesome. So I highly suspect their sound cards are going to be really good and really good value as well. I got a Focusrite Scarlett for under Claret for under 700. Cool. As a lefty, which guitar would you like to see that isn't currently available made in lefty now that we can get a PRS? I want Epiphone to make I want a current like run of Epiphone Casinos. Absolutely. That would be the guitar that I love. Or maybe make a Flying V in a lefty from Epiphone. They don't really do that either. Was I ever a Rat user? No. No. I've used one, I've demoed one. I think I borrowed it off of my friend James or something a long time ago, but what was it, from a shop? I think it might have been from a shop actually, that one, but no, I never owned one. I was more of a tube screamer guy. Still kind of am. Well, that kind of sound anyway. 2 Notes worth the investment? Absolutely. If you're a home studio guy and you've got valve amps or tube amps and you just want to plug in and record silently and have a really great tone or reference your amp and all that kind of stuff, or speaker, they're a really good option. You get all the tube sound of the preamp, and then all it's doing is basically mimicking the speaker cabinet with the microphone of choice. It is great. I think they're a really great unit. If you only, it's good for people who do YouTube videos, good for people who produce music for themselves or whatever, or who record a lot of electric guitar. If you're not one of those two people, probably not, but I love it. Yeah, if it broke or got stolen, I'd buy another one tomorrow. I really like them a lot. I missed a question here I was gonna answer. Let me go back up. The Line 6 UX2 interface has meters on the front. Yeah, you know what? The Line 6 UX2 used to be awesome, but the problem is they've stopped supporting it now. So, which means once the operating systems move ahead, maybe in the next year or two again, you probably won't be able to use them. You'll have to use them on the current, or the older generation of operating systems. So unfortunately the UX2, I had 2 of those. I had a UX8 and the UX2, they're both awesome. Cheddar Kung, $5 for the Pepsi Max Fun. Thanks, man, I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah, I actually just went to the supermarket and picked up some of these cheap Woolworths brand Cokes. They're actually pretty nice. They're only 75 cents a bottle. So how can you go wrong? I'll buy $5 worth of Pepsi Max next time I'm down there, mate. Thanks, I appreciate it. Flying V definitely for lefties, yeah, totally. Hi Shane, I might have missed it, but what? But have you played the new early Ernie Ball Stingray guitar? If so, what did you think? No, I haven't. I've played a couple of their guitars. Ernie Balls. No, I haven't. I haven't played that. I don't even know if I've seen that actually. So that might be one to check out at some point. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Someone actually brought up Firebirds. That's another guitar that I used to see in Lefty for about a year, and then they disappeared. I don't know why. So yeah, bring some Firebirds back. You can still find some older ones. So thanks for that, Cheddar, man. I appreciate it. Right? That's funny. All right, so Maxi says, how do I rate the tremolo system on the PRS? It works great. If I could find my bag for it, which isn't in here, it's in my lounge room. That's where my whammy bar is. I used it last night. I didn't have to tune up once. It works great. For me personally, what I do, I put the extra spring that it comes with in the back. So I think I've got 5 springs in the back with a bit of tension. So when I bend notes, it doesn't actually lift. So I have my tremolo arm set up, which isn't really set up, but I have it at a particular tension point where I have to physically push down relatively tough or hard to get it to work. And I prefer that. I don't like a tremolo system that floats because I find that kind of off-putting when I'm just playing. I'll tend to overbend, but I can bend anywhere all the way out the guitar, and I can see it hint at moving, but it doesn't lift up off the body, and I prefer to run it that way. It kills most of the Strat ones that I've used over the years, which I don't use them much because of that very reason. I just ended up avoiding it because I don't like going out of tune. So yeah, I think they're really great. If you're enjoying the live stream, guys, if you haven't already, please give it a thumbs up. That'd be awesome. I used to play with Jerry Garcia's organ player, Melvin. That's from, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, Synthetic Rebellion, is it? Yeah, so when I see names like that that are joined with no capitals, I tend to go, well, I could make 4 words out of that. Is that synth? And then like something else after it, which I'm not going to say, and then I was like, oh no, synthetic, yeah, I got it. Ernie Ball guitars and Music Man, actual Music Man guitars are pretty nice, but have not been impressed by the Sterling ones. Music Man guitars are nice. I played an Axis Sport, I think they called it, Jerry's, which leads me to believe I might not have put that video up yet. I might have missed a couple. I'm gonna have to go through all of his videos that I've got on my hard drive, make sure all of them go up. But yeah, and before June, because I might be back there in June, so we'll see. But yeah, I haven't tried the Ernie Ball ones, but I've seen them because now, this is the weird way my memory works. I actually saw one at a cheap shop here in Melbourne called Harvey Norman Best Buys. They did a Guitar Search Saturday episode there. It was like wasn't a guitar shop, but they sold instruments. And I sent him a photo and it was like 230 bucks. I said, man, if I was right-handed, I'd buy that. That looks like a good instrument. I don't know if he ended up getting it or not. So I got asked earlier too, what are my thoughts on the new Mustang amps? I pretty much covered that in its entirety. If you just type in Fender Mustang GT and then type in INTHEBLUES as one word, it'll bring up all my videos on that. My overall thoughts are, look, they're good for kids. People who want to play at home might just want the small one. Just don't expect them to sound great. You know, I still stand by my decision that the older amps sound better. Both in a live situation, they sound more outward sounding. They don't sound like the amps 9, to 12 feet behind the stage. The new ones are loud, and their firmware upgrades have helped. So the GT200 now sounds probably better than it did when it came out, because of what they've done. They've added this, is it parametric? Not parametric. They've added an EQ in there where basically you can shape the mids more, which is what it needed to begin with. Anyway, I hope when they release the next lot, they kind of get a few out to people to test and say, well, like, what are your thoughts on this? Because they were basically, you know, chasing their tail, trying to get caught up with making it sound better. So, but overall, if you're not that, you know, you're playing at home, you want to have Bluetooth connectivity and all that kind of crap, look, they'll be okay for that. For me personally, I don't need that. I'd rather just put on an album on something and just jam. But that's just me. I don't look. The one problem I have with gear, you shouldn't need a mobile phone to do everything or anything. You want to play guitar, right? Get rid of the telephone. Put it on the floor. Don't get distracted with Facebook or whatever. Play some guitar. You know, I'm guilty of when I watch these streams from like not Robert Baker's one last night. I was actually in bed, but if Pixie's on and he's jamming out, mate, I go, oh, where's my guitar? You know, like I'll grab my guitar and have a play. So get the phone. An amp should need a phone. And it's just another distraction you don't need. Sonia says, In the Blues, truly a great show tonight. Thank you. Hey, appreciate it. How about we get the Telecaster out? I need to set the action up, so I'm going to hit probably a whole lot of clunkers. But let's fire this up. Hey, look, I put my portrait on here. Look at this. I know most of you have probably seen that already. A lot of people are like, what's with the zombie poster? I'm like, I'm a fan of crappy movies. I don't know why. Since I was a kid, I liked horror movies. It's just the weird part of my brain. So I'm like completely desensitized to just about everything. And you know what? I've printed out some more. You reckon? I gotta give. This is a little off topic. I won't spend too much time on it. But the Italian horror movies, man, have the best makeup effects in the world. Like that's in the 70s, right? It looks just unbelievably good. But I've printed up some other ones, which I think will go. People are like, what's that on the wall? So every now and then I'll mix it up. And we're coming up to 80,000 subs too, pretty soon. Probably the next, I don't know, 2 weeks or something. Could be somewhere like that. I'm not 100% certain, but we're going to basically, I'm going to change up a few more of these. So that's a new Johnny Cash one as well. I replaced the one that I had with that one because that was much, much better. Dr. John's new. The zombie one's relatively new. And I think I changed, yeah, I moved the John Mayer one over. Got that sort of out of the way. And how's that? I just out of, you know, you can probably see it flashing in the background. I got this, there it is, that little party LED sign. That was the only one they had left. I actually wanted one that said live, but they didn't have any. But that was $4. I was like, hey, that's cool. Seen any great concerts that recently affect your mindset, inspiration? Chris Kane. He's friggin' awesome. Great vibe, great personality, great player. Just really inspiring. Just totally. More inspiring than anyone else I've seen in a long time. You know, like I saw James Brown, phenomenal artist, great band, all that kind of stuff. I saw John Mayer play. Me personally, this guy runs rings around everybody. He's great. If you like the voice of B.B. King, with a guitar player that can play everything. You know, he used to play with Albert King and a whole lot of guys. Robin Ford band and all that. He's one of the guitar players in that band. He's an absolute monster. So yeah, Chris Kane. I don't go to a whole lot of live shows these days because a lot of the time they're really expensive in Australia. But when they're, you know, at a price where I go, you know, $30 or $50 isn't too bad. But once, you know, I saw Clapton, I was an idiot. I got second from the front row. Second row, right in the center, $400. And that was in 2008. And after that show let me down, I said, I'll never do that again. And the other guy I got to give props to, Buddy Guy. Buddy Guy's band, live are one of the most dynamic bands you'll ever hear. They're just fantastic. One guy I want to see while I'm away next year, or this year, sorry, it's 18 already, is JJ Gray and Mofro. There's the Wales poster up there, or there's one down here too, but yeah. I need to paint my walls black? Yeah, maybe. No, I kind of like the white. The reason the white's really good is I can color balance my cameras easily. I can white balance them. I painted it that color intentionally. I don't own this place, by the way, either, so I had to work with the colors that were already on the wall, but I chose that particular white because it's a bright white. It's very different to the wall on this side, which I didn't paint, but I thought, you know what, yeah. I've got some ideas for doing something similar to this in the future as well, but I'm not going to give that away, and I'm not going to do it just yet. But I do know what I want to have on this back wall coming up, and it's not guitars or anything like that either. It's going to be different. Same sort of idea, but I'll save that for another time. Man, this is great. The biggest issue in horror is that nothing happens. Teenagers in the woods, I wonder what happens. Oh, what a surprise, they're dead. And the hot chick survived. No, that's from the 80s onwards, all right? So go back to the 70s. And you'll see, like this particular movie, no teenagers in it at all. It's not that sort of movie. There's a lot of really cool, like, check out another movie called Suspiria, abstract horror movie. It's dubbed in every language, so no matter where you live, there'll be a subtitles thing for it or whatever. But yeah, look, there's the cliche horror movies, and you know they're enjoyable to some extent if you just want to shut the brain off. But then there's ones that are so bad they're great, and I reckon Zombie is in that category for me. I love it. I watch it probably every 6 to 8 months. I'm going to fix the action on this up. I'm going to do it after this stream. JJ Gray and Mofro are coming to St. Augustine in Florida. Awesome. I was in St. Augustine a couple of years ago. Beautiful part of Florida. Am I going to the Byron Bay Blues Festival? No. I'm not much of a I like being around thousands of people kind of guy. As much as fun as that would be, I don't really like that kind of thing. I like a bit of personal space, and that's kind of why I don't really want to do the whole NAMM thing as well. Part of me is like, you know, even after about 40 minutes of a really busy room at the Melbourne Guitar Festival, I was like, I'm done. I want to get out of here. And I want to see JJ Gray and Mofro ideally at a venue that they're just playing at somewhere. That kind of thing's more my thing. The Byron Bay thing is great. Lots of great talented bands and all that over. They get, you know, Derek Trucks and all kinds of people. I haven't seen the lineup for this year, but odds are it's going to be another really great year. I hope Ray Beadle is playing there again because that guy is one of the best. So this particular Telecaster, you can probably see, for those who missed the video, I'm back on singles. These are MJS Custom Pickups. I lowered the neck pickup, but now I feel like I need to bring it back up. So I'll do that as well. It's funny, this Telecaster usually has a lot of snap on the tops, but after playing the PRS, I kind of feel like I need to turn the treble up a little bit. So let's try this. What's my favorite kinds of beer? I don't drink beer, man. I know it's kind of weird that I'm Australian and a musician, but I don't drink beer. I had my first cider in probably 12 months, New Year's Eve, and it was ordered by accident. We asked for soda water, they gave us a cider, and it was this big. So it was a big glass. What are they, pints? Is that what they're called? And I had about that much out of it. And I was like, I'm done. But I would take a cider over a beer. I just don't like beer. Never got into it. The PRS sounds a ton better in my opinion. Well, see, this is the thing. That's why it's such a great guitar. This is pretty nice, though. I'll show you a really cool turnaround. I don't normally do lessons on these things, but I've been messing with this a bit, and I've been getting really sloppy with this lick. So if you're playing an A, you do it here. So you play the 5th on the A, the 2nd on the B, and then you do the run up on the B string. Oh man, let's do that again. That's a cool one. You'll see me do that a lot. You can use it as a turnaround or just as a lick. It's a fun little thing to get out of that, you know, typical minor sort of. It's out of tune slightly. Hi Shane, just bought a PV Bandit Red Stripe for $100. Awesome. Thanks for the recommendations. Cheers from Singapore. Hey, no worries, man. Good stuff. How can you go wrong with a $100 amplifier? That's great. So yeah, I got 3 PVs back here at the moment. Last night I played live. I took the Studio Pro Silver Stripe out with the Lunar Stone 3-stage overdrive pedal. And it was great. They were a really great amp. And the last set I didn't even use any pedals. I just tried the drive channel for the first time. It was great. It's definitely not as loud as the PV Bandit, that amp, but it's pretty loud. So yeah, I had some good fun. $100, how can you go wrong? Shane needs to smoke some fine homegrown at my house. I sent a message to Rick earlier saying now that he's had 2 or 3 days on his PRS, go play your Telecaster and then let me know how it feels. Even though he's got custom shop stuff, the playability on these is just, it's so different that I know he's gonna go, oh, I reckon he might sell a couple of tellies coming up. We'll see how we go. Sustain, man. That's no vibrato. Like if I was to vibrato that, it would stay longer. Zero Cool says, I love tellies, but PRS seems to sound better with him. Yeah, I'm not sure if you heard the video I posted, maybe you're mutual friends with him or something, but I did post just a video on my own Facebook page of Rick playing, and it sounded great, even through a Blues Junior. He's like, man, that amp's really good. I'm like, oh, I've been telling you this for a while. So yeah, I think he's a changed man. I've corrupted him in a good way. And now he's like trying to put the sell on me to buy like a US one. I'm like, I don't need one, man. This is great. Nick? It's got more tops than my telly. Ever tried a Tokai Telecaster? I've never seen a left-handed one anywhere. I've only seen, I think, a Chinese one, which, I don't know. I've not actually played it though, so no, unfortunately. A friend of mine has a Tokai Japanese Tele and a Japanese Strat. He actually had it at the Jam last night. And they're nice sounding guitars. I didn't pick it up and have a good look at it, but I think Alex actually might do some stuff with me on a live stream coming up. He's got a lot of interesting sort of guitars that are a bit different too. So I think he mentioned it sort of late last year. So we'll probably get together, do some stuff. Maybe get his top guys back over here as well. I get messy when I get right up to the end here. It just gets a bit sloppy. Whatever happened to my Vox AC15 C1? So I had that and the AC30 C2 for years. That's all I gigged with for a long time. I just kind of found my way back to Fender amps. That's all it was. Like, I like Vox amps, but the sound that I hear... See, when I'm playing just a Telecaster, the Vox stuff is unreal. Like, it's such a great, you know, combination of things. Telecaster and a Vox is very classic. I just found I was starting to enjoy that big round full clean tone more than getting like a semi-compressed starting tone. And I like that more than trying to dial in something from an amp. And then I found like the AC15, as great as it sounds, I used it on records and everything, and it just didn't have a whole lot of headroom, you know, and the 30 was just way too big. Like, it weighed a ton. I've made that mistake before. I bought a twin, and after a few months, I was like, I'm done. This thing is just a backbreaker. So, you know, I think right around that time, I moved back. I think I had a PV, and then the PV was faulty. This was a Delta Blues. It had a faulty reverb tank. And then I thought, screw it. I'm just going back to playing Fender amps. So that's pretty much what I've done, minus all the PVs. But in terms of the valve amps, I mean, have you ever played the Tumnus Deluxe? I know you played the regular small version. Yeah, I had that for a long time. I only just recently sold it, actually, the Tumnus. No, but, you know, it's not an innovative sort of pedal. You know, it's been done before. VFE make one called the Merman, which has been out for probably 3 years. Exactly the same thing, I think. It's got like bass and treble. I think it actually has mid, so maybe it is a little bit different, but you know, to get the clon sound, you really just want it to do the clon thing. Once you start adding other controls, it's gonna turn it into something that it might not work as well. I'm not saying that it's gonna sound like a bad pedal. I've said this on other streams. I just think personally, it's maybe not anything that I'm that interested in, because if you want a clon tone, you want it to do that, and that's why it's popular. I just see that as a not something that I'm that interested in. I'd like to plug it in and give it a go, but it's definitely not something I'm going to buy, because I've already got two clons or clon style pedals, and if I want that tone, I've got that tone. I don't have to sort of fiddle around with EQs and all that. Yeah, so that's my 2 cents on that. Where did I see that? Shane, have you ever tried Rickenbacker style 325? No. I like playing a kiddie's guitar. Okay. No, I don't know that one, man. I don't think I've really seen too many lefty Rickenbackers. Split. Gotta start getting out of A. A is my noodle key, and I'm sure everyone realizes that. I just like A for some reason. Woo! what's that Clapton lick you got in the habit of playing? Used to do that all the time. He'd be like playing some really great stuff. And then he'd go. Ben says, man, aren't you glad you bought that PRS? Absolutely, dude. It's rocks. This one's just killer. Sounds as good as anything I've heard from any of their range. Terry says, I'm not a lefty, but I got the TE52 Tele and the HD 120 acoustic electric, and you can buy better for the money, and you can buy better for more money. Ah, for more money. Okay, all right, gotcha. So the TE52 is a Harley Benton Telecaster style guitar. Pretty much looks like the 52 I was playing before, to the untrained eye. How's the album coming along? That's from Dylan. Basically, I worked on it very little over December. The daily content thing was crazy. So I did ended up doing 60 videos in 50 days, something silly like that. So it was a lot of work. I do all the editing. Next year I'm going to try and hire help in October. Just have a friend come in and help out or something. Because yeah, this year was really busy. So I didn't have enough time to really put into it in December, and November was pretty busy as well. But I've finished 2 songs. I finished The Breeze, and someone mentioned After Midnight today. Did a swamp version of that as well. Played the rhythm on this. I'm going to put together a video about that particular part of the process coming up. I've got all the clips shot. I just need to put it into something that sort of is watchable, because rhythm guitar parts to most guitar players are less, it doesn't hold their attention as much as maybe some of the lead guitar parts. At least that's how I feel about it. I mean, I'm sure people will get value out of it, but it's more like, I want to make this sound good and unique, and then I'm also going to try and play a second part that complements it. What can I come up with? That's kind of the premise of that video, and it's an important part of laying down, parts on an album as well. But it's getting there. It's getting there. So for those who have just joined, if you've missed the start of the stream, tomorrow I'm going to record a whole lot of new backing tracks for my intro clips, for all my videos and all that kind of stuff. I have some guitars on the way as well, which should be fun. So I want to get some brand new real drum, real bass backing tracks. I'm going to record that process at my friend Drew's place, and put up some videos about how we went about it and what we used and all that. Because it seems to be a few people that are right into the home recording and want to get into it, or want to actually record some stuff with drums and do their own albums or whatever. So we're going to get into a bit of that, and just we'll see what comes up out of it. Drew's a fantastic player, so I'll probably aim just to record about 10 intro tracks of different feels. Some will be blues, some will be funk, some will be you see me play that thing a bit. It's like, I think I'm a bit out of tune, but we're gonna pick some grooves and just, it might be a 2/4, and then just some different feels, and hopefully create some really cool backing tracks that we can jam to. So, or that I can use for the videos, and also give them away on Patreon as well. Bust out the white Mexican Strat. All right, I'll do that before we close up in about 10 minutes or so. So let me. That's actually it's in the cupboard. Let me grab it. So I'm gonna have to. Actually, I might just take a quick 2-minute break here, and I'll make sure I mute the microphones. I'll take this one off. I'll go grab the guitar. I'll come back. Just bear with me for a minute, and I will be right back. I'll get that guitar. Alright, here it is. Alright, let's do it. So for those who joined while I was away, apologies, we've been going 2 hours. I just needed a quick break from... My bladder needed a break. Alright, let's do it. So, I need my headphones so I can hear what is going on. I'm going to tune this thing up as well. I'm going to see how it sounds. There we go. Hey, we've still got people here. That's awesome. I thought I'd lose 3/4 of the audience. Is the Dan Electro pedal staying on your board? It actually hasn't been on my board at all. I've just been using it because I enjoy it. The thing with me is I need to test a few of these out before they actually get a position on the board. I've got a smaller board that tends to change a little bit from time to time. I got to say it's great. I haven't used it live, so that's going to be the test for me to put something on my board. It's not necessarily just about using it at home and then going, oh, this is the one. For me, I'm very particular with that. I need to try it a few times, make sure it feels good, make sure it does something better than what I've already got on there. But overall, I got to say, man, for, what are they, 60 bucks or something, 70 bucks? Unbelievable. So, let's go bridge and middle. You can hear like every guitar plugged in so far, but this pedal has sounded good. Jamal says he has to work tomorrow, but it's all good. I know you get up early too, man. This Strat sounds so good with dirt. I've had 4 Mexican standard Strats over the years. The first one that I bought was a black one, and then I bought the next one after that was a white one with like a maple fingerboard, and then I think I had 2 of those, and then I got this one. So yeah, I think I'm going to keep this one. This one, as soon as I got onto bridge and middle position on this one, I just went, yeah, this is the guitar, man. It's got a lot of bite. Oh. This is from, hi Shane from In The Blues. What's your main job? Can you live full-time doing YouTube? You can. It's not always easy, especially in January through to about through to March or April. January and February are like the worst times for YouTubers. Just inherently, it's always bad. You find that it drops 2/3 financially for you, so you earn about as 1/3 the amount as what you would earn prior to the end of the year. The way I make ends meet is basically reselling a lot of stuff that I get sent, and that's kind of helps balance that out. So yeah, and guys on Patreon also support it as well. They usually get first dibs on my pedals. So unlike most guys who probably run a Patreon page and like don't give anything to the people that help them out, they always get first dibs on any of my stuff. I set up my own website to resell stuff as well. So if it doesn't sell through the Patreon guys, they basically get put on my website and I sell them that way. Traffic on there is pretty low at the moment because I went months without having anything on there. I've just accumulated stuff. So just doing YouTube alone, even with big hits, it's sometimes tough. Other times of the year, you do okay. Like it's really up and down. Yeah, and the bigger you get, the easier it is to remain consistent, you know, daily. The smaller channels, what you'll find with small channels, they might have one video that gets them an extra 10,000 hits in the day, but then they're back to sort of 5,000 or 6,000 views a day or something like that, and that's, you know, you wouldn't even think about leaving your job for that. I did 3 years of full-time work with really pushing on YouTube and just buying and selling a lot of my stuff just for videos, and that particular time that's when I really got addicted to energy drinks because I was working in IT full-time and then also trying to do, you know, YouTube, and it was tough, but that's the only way I could justify, like I had to get it to a point where I thought, you know what, I used to share here too, which made it a lot easier for me financially, but once that changed, I was like, man, I had a lot of tough months, but you know, you work stuff out. Like I'm really good at problem solving and working out like what do I need to do to get for me to enjoy what I do. I'm really self-reliant, and that's why I had a lot of people ask me about Patreon. I was like, I don't know if I want to set one up. It sort of sends the wrong message. And then I was like, you know what? My main audience is on YouTube. So what I'm not going to do on my page is have Patreon only content. It's not how it works. So I keep my audience that I've had for years and continually growing. All my videos get posted to YouTube. I offer other things on that page that might be of value to the people that want to support the channel. So I do it that way. But I don't rely on that as like my source of income, because that can change as well. I just see that as like, I think the people that subscribe to that like supporting the channel, but they also want to get first dibs on, you know, the Pride of Texas or whatever. So that's the only videos I really do on there. So in terms of what I do on YouTube, I've had the best year I've ever had this year, but it's also been the most I've ever worked in my life. Like I've worked more this year doing what I do and enjoy. I say work, it's fun for me. Like I really enjoy it, but December was crazy, man. It was crazy. I pumped out more than a video a day on the most part for a long time. And it was an eye-opening experience, like how much I could actually get done if I put my mind to it, and how I sacrificed a lot of other stuff to get that done, but it was good. I really enjoyed it. So I think every now and then you'll see me make a huge push on YouTube where I'll do like daily content for a month or two or something. I'm definitely going to do that more often. But I'm trying to make the content still good. If it ever suffers, that's when I'll drop it back. And I can tell. Some days I go to shoot videos and I'm like, I got to let this go today. I'm too tired. So, Peter, thanks, man. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate that. I don't know what Michael says. Toasted fretboards. What does that mean? You mean like the baked maple fretboards? Is that what you're talking about? Or the baked maple necks? Or are you talking about those Sir guitars? I'm not too sure. I might have missed a comment on that, but so there we go. Cheddar says if it was self-serving. Oh, hang on. What am I looking at here? I don't know. I might have missed some comments, guys. Sorry, the chat scrolls and then I miss stuff. So Jamal says he wants that Pride of Texas. All right, all right. I'm actually. enjoying it right now, but we'll see how we go. The problem is, right, when you get a pedal, for me, like that's 70 bucks, say, and Amazon sells it, I might sell that to the Patreon guys for whatever half is of that, right? So 35 bucks or something. That's usually how I work. I just sell it 50% less than they're worth. Then I've got to add shipping on, right? So shipping will end up making it cost pretty much the same almost of what you could get it for in the States. So, oh, actually it'd be cheaper still, but not by a lot. So, yeah. Do I make any money from my gigs? Yeah, not a lot, and I don't play that much anymore either. Unfortunately, a lot of the gigs I had just sort of stopped. We have a lot of problems in Melbourne where venues close down, or they only open seasonally as well, which is kind of a bit of a thing that I see now in sort of like venues outside of the city. But I don't play blues to make money. If you want to play blues, you're in the and make money, you're playing the wrong music. Or hang on, if you want to play to make money, blues isn't the right music, is what I meant to say. You basically want to just play cover band stuff if you want to make good money. And I don't really want to do that. I don't know enough songs anymore that aren't mine or blues to do a cover band gig anymore. I just don't know enough songs. So it's one of those things. I'm not that into playing covers. I can see people enjoying it, the crowds love it, but I just prefer to play. If we get offered a gig and we make 40 or 50 bucks each, that's considered really good. So yeah, at least for playing the music that we play. Originals doesn't have the same sort of, you know, repayment in cash financially, or compensation, I should say. I'm a big believer in like trying to follow the things that you enjoy. I think I'm a little bit lucky. I'm not going to say lucky to do what I'm doing. I put in a lot of hard work, but my skill set kind of lent itself to this in a way. Like I've always been into shooting video ever since I was a kid. The first video camera I had, I used to put together home movies and come up with ideas and move toys around and do voiceovers and stuff. So I've always been into that stuff. And even while I was playing guitar, like guitar came in a bit later, but I loved computers and I loved video. And then I liked B-grade horror movies, and I love, you know, things that people could do without having a whole lot of money to do it. And I think YouTube is kind of like the fun thing for me, because I get to do what I enjoy. Like I know I'm not the best guitar player around or anything like that, far from it, but I love playing. I love tinkering with toys and amps. I'm smiling right now thinking about it. So for me to have a day where I can do something that I enjoy, and it's paid off from years and years of hard work, like 11 years or 12 years or however long it's been since I've been doing this, it feels good. It feels good. Is it where I need it to be like financially secure? Absolutely not, right? But it doesn't matter. I said to a few guys recently, I'll take, I don't want to just have to charge every company money to produce videos. I could go down that route, but it would mean that there'd be less stuff coming in. So I got to weigh up whether or not I want to have companies not work with me because I'm going to charge them a fee, or whether they can just send me a box full of stuff and then I can give it off to the people that support the channel for less money, but at least then, you know, guaranteed stuff is coming in that's different, and I prefer to work that way. So yeah, there's different ways. I could be like, you know, completely, I could take the opposite approach and expect everyone to want to pay me and because I'm great and all this, but that's not who I am. So I'm like, if I appreciate these companies wanting to work with me or sending me stuff, and then I'm not obliged to do anything in the video. It's like that Beat Buddies company sent me an email and they're like, oh, we'd love to send you this and that. I said, all right, cool, you know, no worries, send me some details. And they told me about what they'd like me to say in the video. I said, forget about it, not interested at all. Oh, you know, this is just a guide, you don't have to say any of this stuff, but we'd prefer if you did. And I'm like, dude, forget about it. Like, and I know Philip McKnight posted a picture on Instagram, and I commented on it. I said, yeah, I got exactly the same email from them. Anytime a company says that to me, I'm like, see you later. I'm not interested. So yeah, they don't. I prefer just to be able to do what I do without any of the Big Brother influences on anything that I do. That's why I don't do the NAMM thing as well or any of that. That's one of the reasons. I don't really want to be in with the companies like that. If they want to work with me, that's awesome. But I do things on my own terms. At least that's what I try to do. And you know, over time, I'm still trying to develop my chops. I look at my playing this year, and although if you've been watching for a while, you might not have seen it change much, but there's a lot of stuff that I was playing this year I wasn't doing the prior year, and my fluidity changed as well in some of the playing intro clips and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I still work on my playing. I might not work on it enough, but in a way, playing daily, doing what I do is practice within itself. It might not be constructive practice to some extent, but it is, because it's kind of like performing. You know, I try to play the best I can on any intro clip or whatever, and I'll shoot them 4 or 5 times before I'm happy with them. So it's a good experience doing YouTube. It kind of brings out a lot of the things you need to work on, as well as just trying. There's that lick again. I got to stop doing that. So that's another thing I hear too. Hey Jan, thanks. I appreciate that. Shane's awesome. Keep up the good work. Hey, thanks so much. That's awesome. Thank you so much. It's a cool looking avatar you got there, Jan. It looks like is that one of the new American Telecasters? I can't tell. It's so small on my little laptop screen, but it looks like one of the Elite Series ones, possibly, judging by the sticker. I know the stickers. How nerdy is that? All right, so one thing I want to tell you guys too, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to do a series of videos with Rick that I don't think has been done before on YouTube. Similar things have been done, but not in the way we're going to do it, right? I think you guys will get a kick out of this. It's going to be definitely loud. That's the only thing I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to give it away, but it's going to be loud. And Rick, I'm going to let Rick do the playing. I might do some as well, actually, depending on the situation, but it's going to be hilarious. So I think hopefully in the next month, these videos will be done. We only really need one day where we can do them all, but we're not going to do it at my place. I wouldn't be able to do it here, but it's going to be hilarious. So yeah, I'm going to try, like, I know not every video I produce obviously is for everybody, but just check these out when they go up. You'll know it'll be, I already know the thumbnail I want to do for it, so Rick will be in the thumbnail, and it won't be a Telecaster Tuesday one either, so it'll be something else. Yeah. I have a Texas Screamer, Johnny Winter pedal, and a Big Joe Stompbox Co. It's like a tube. It's like a blues tube screamer. Great pedal. Cool. Johnny Winter's another great guy, man. Oh, what a player. Jamal says, there's enough NAMM coverage on YouTube already. The video you did at the trade show in Melbourne was much more interesting. Thanks, yeah. And that's kind of another reason I don't want to go either. I mean, like, you know, when the biggest time I've had on YouTube was when GitCon was on. People were like, I think they liked a lot of those videos, and that was cool. But I saw, like, interest in it sort of wane after about 5 or 6 videos from each of the people that were posting them up. I think the Pixie Licks ones were probably the best. I enjoyed watching his ones. I know the guy personally as well. He's a really, really cool guy. But he didn't like overly spam them out or anything. I think NAMM has a tendency of bringing out a whole lot of spammy videos that are just, you know, they take away from, I know I do gear demos, but it sort of takes away from guitar playing. It's just always product stuff, and that doesn't really excite me either. So when NAMM comes up, which is, I think, this month, I'm going to try and put together, you know, a week of content that's the exact opposite of that. That's the plan. So if you get bored of all the spam, you can watch something else on my channel if you choose to. It says you don't have to worry about your chops. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Is that the real Ed Dana? This is another Clapton lick I stole off him. Yeah, I stole a few. So the ones that I play the most off Clapton are these triplicate things. Not triplicate, what's it called? Triplet. I said triplicate, like a triplicate, you know, passport form. So he does this, he does that, he does this one. Two different things. And then he'll sort of go, there's that one. And then he does it, what's the other one? They're all sort of the same thing, but that's something I got out of his voice. And the reason I asked Ed was because I know there's a lot of fake Ed Dana accounts out there. I don't know what you did, dude, but everyone... Or what you didn't do. My new favorite Chris Kane lick at the moment is over a minor. Let's go to B because I've been playing an A all day. That's great. I love that lick, man. Chris Kane. If you like the sound of that lick, listen to him. He's got some killer chops. It's one of those ones you can move around with the 4 and the 5. Yeah, these are the Chris Kane licks I've stolen. And then I can't play him quite right yet, but anyway, he's got some really interesting chops. There's no doubt about it. I have a Mexican Strat. I love the sound. What do you think? I love this. I think it's a great guitar. I recently did a shootout between a Squier, a Mexican Standard, and a couple of the American Series ones. Clean, they sound different. These ones, they sound a bit kind of darker, but once you get some dirt on them, man, they're unreal. I'm actually supposed to play it here, aren't you, if you're cool? That's nasty. Jimmy will haunt me for ruining his song. This is from Krusty. Shane, I need a bedroom amp that isn't very loud and is small and has a good clean sound. I'm not into batteries much. Any suggestions? Yeah, a lot of people swear by the Yamaha amps. They're like a little, almost like a Bluetooth speaker looking thing. They're not Bluetooth, but the TH10, I think they're called. Someone will correct me if I've got that wrong. I think they're a really cool little practice amp. You don't really want to go too much smaller than that. If you want something that's not louder than a conversation level, that has an okay clean, the Boss Katana Mini was fun, but it's not going to get any louder than conversation level. So how, you know, a non-loud conversation. It doesn't get loud clean, but it has a good clean tone. You can run that off a power supply, like a pedal 9-volt power supply. It doesn't come with one though. But yeah, that's a really cool little practice amp. One that I've got is the Bugera V5 Infinium. The reason that's great, even though it's a valve or tube amp, it has a switch. You can go from 0.1 watts to 1 watt or 5 watts. And I tend to find in my particular place, I never use it on 5 watts. It's just too loud in here. So yeah, 0.1 watts. You're not going to get a whole lot of clean headroom, but it should still sound okay. So yeah, Todd says the Yamaha TH-R10. I knew I was forgetting a number in there. So that's a great little amp. It sounds like a produced guitar track. It's actually pretty cool. Gotta have the crybaby. Yeah, I totally agree. You know, I think someone was talking about the playing thing before. You know, I went through about 6 months where I was flat musically, you know, and it's hard sometimes to keep that fire for playing alive. Like, if you go through a funk in your playing, and not like a James Brown thing, it's really hard to sort of get out of that sometimes. And I felt like my playing was just not, in a live situation, wasn't on point a lot. I felt very repetitive and very uninspired. And it took seeing someone like this dude live, Chris, and it sort of like completely changed my mindset about guitar again. I said to him, man, you've just like re-inspired me to play. And he was like, oh man, thanks so much, you know. And said, yeah, I hadn't had that happen in a long time. And yeah, so, you know, I like I said, I don't know I know a lot of people aren't on Facebook, but if you are on Facebook and you go to the INTHEBLUES Facebook page, I streamed that gig to Facebook, and you can check it out. It was awesome. We're just laughing every three to 5 seconds. There's just some killer chops. So go check him out. So it took me getting re-inspired by someone like that, just to get that. All right, I want to get out of my funk. Let's play and enjoy it again. So yeah, I went through months of playing gigs where I wasn't feeling it. My timing was out. I just wasn't happy with one thing or another, you know, within my playing. And yeah, it's just a bit of a black hole getting out of that sometimes. Look at Jay Palmer's video where he mods his Boss Katana to have a cab output jack. Cool, man. Connects it to a 212 cab, and now it's a Boss Katana Mini. He uses it as a head. It's funny you mentioned that, actually. I know a guy in Melbourne who has... This is another really great amp that people don't seem to talk about. I reckon it's arguably one of the best practice amps you can buy. I totally recommend this. The Vox Pathfinder 15R. It's a solid state 15 watt amp. I've seen people use that into a 212 Fender box, like a cabinet, and use that live, and it's loud. Through a 212, it's an absolute monster. I want to get my hands on one of them at some point. I need to keep my eyes on the secondhand market and see if I can find one. I think they're out of production now. I see plenty of Pathfinder 15s, but without the reverb. I want one with reverb. I like having a bit of reverb. That particular amp, you can, you know, bypass the internal speaker, plug in an external box, and it sounds unbelievably good. I know a guy who just took that to gigs all the time. So yeah, they're pretty wild. Green onions. Green onions. I know the song. I'm just trying to think of how it goes. That's I know it's like a bluesy sort of pattern. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. I don't have money for a Helix, so I'm deciding whether to get the Pod HD 500X. I haven't tried that, man. I can tell you the Helix is worth, well, I don't know if they're worth the money they're charging, but it's really quite good. I'm shocked I'm saying that. I think it's a really good option. I have a THR10 and a TC and love them. Cool. I have seen years worth of Harley Benton guitars. What's the quality of Harley Benton Tallies if I ordered one today? Seems like a lot of guitar for the money. Yeah, I hear a lot of good things about them. I haven't ordered one. I think one of my goals, for whatever reason this year, is to get one. Just to see if, like, you know, and this isn't to criticize anyone else, but a lot of people that don't play live might have a different opinion on a guitar as to someone who plays live. And that's not to sound condescending. It's just like, will it work in a live situation is what I'm getting at. Because there's guitars that friends of mine have swapped, and it sounds fine at home. They take it out live and it squeals because it can't handle distortion pedals. So, excuse me, I want to find out whether or not it's something that someone can actually play live with. And there's going to be a bit more, a bit more of that this year going on my channel as well. As like, not so much the live, well, I'm going to be doing these obviously, but I want to put up live clips of how stuff works as well, because you know, you can get lost up your own hole, whatever, playing at home. There's a big portion of the people that might want to know how they work in a live situation, or how it sounds in the context of a mix, and can you gig with it, you know, like a series like that. And that would be a great first addition to that type of video series. Would be like, here's a $150 guitar, is it any good, and how does it compare to a Squier? You know, I saw a Squier Classic Vibe lefty in the shop the other day. They're such great guitars, you know, like they're really, really good. It makes me wonder, like they're not as cheap as the Harley Bentons, but it makes me wonder sort of, has Harley Benton managed to get the same sort of quality out of their instruments, or comparable quality? Yeah, I'm not huge into having to mod cheap guitars to make them sound or play better. I don't want to waste money on that. I think the one mod I might make for it, I've got my Joe Barden pickups in a case over there, the ones that I took out of that telly back there. So I could almost use a less expensive guitar to put them in and have that as an option. But Harley Benton, would I put them in a Harley Benton? I don't know, man. I'd sleep better at night probably putting them in a Squier Classic Vibe. But that's my mission for this year. I want to see if they're any good, and are they junk? Maybe that'll be a great title for a video. A lot of people swear by them, so I want to find out for myself, you know. And that's the problem with, like, I know a lot of guys personally as well that have, like Nick in the States and that, who I trust his opinion. I've met the guy. But there's a lot of, it gets to a point on YouTube where there's a lot of hype behind products and amps. Like you probably saw a little while back, everyone was pushing those British Victory amps. They sound like shit. I don't like those amps at all. I've heard them live. I've played them myself. I don't know what the hype is around them. I really don't get it. I'm not saying they all sound bad, but the ones I've heard, they're like Ice Pick Central, you know. So I wondered whether or not there was a bit of that going on for these cheaper guitars, whether or not, you know, dudes that work for these companies are only saying positive things about them. And that's kind of the fear that exists online these days. Oh, here we go. So Cheddar says, put it this way, I won't order another Harley Benton after my experience where mine came with horrible fret sprout. So I take it the frets were actually dislodged from the fretboard. Is that what you're saying? That's crazy, man. That is crazy. But I'll check him out. I'll give him... They got a couple of guitars that kind of look nice. The Michael Kelly ones actually look pretty good. Oh, that was out. Alright, so we're getting some positive comments. A lot of guys here already own the Harley Benton stuff and they're saying that it play good. That's cool. And that's what, yeah, I just want to see what they're like. The other problem with being a lefty is I'm certain a lot of these companies don't have lefties working for them or setting the guitars up in a way that works for left-handers. They've got a right-handed guy looking at it like, oh yeah, that looks about right. So I expect if it does turn up, I'll have to do a full, you know, adjustment on the neck possibly, or these are just assumptions I'm making, but hopefully it plays well. That'd be great. No victory for Victory amps with Shane. Yeah, that's from Terry. I don't know, man. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. they're one of those amps you just can't dial out that high frequency. Like Hughes and Kettner. Oh man, the two worst ice pick amps I've ever heard in a live situation. Hughes and Kettner. I can't remember the model. It was like, it sounded like a car or something. It was like a Cadillac or a, it had some sort of like American themed name. It was a 212 amp, and my God, it was like Spike City. You put a blanket, put 3 blankets over the speakers, and it would still have way too much top end. And the Victory amps, I just don't get the hype. I really don't. A friend of mine, Brian, had gas, something shocking for one of them, and we went and tested like 2 or 3 out at a specialty guitar shop here in Melbourne. And he's like, oh, I think this will do everything I want it to do. And I was like, yeah, it sounds really good, but you know, the ones that I've heard, I told him, the ones that I've heard, you can't dial out this top end. And yeah, so we tested out this 212 one, and it had I think it was a 30 watt one or something like that. It was a white amp. I'm going to say it had a name like Duchess or something, maybe something like that. Anyway, it was like a royalty sort of theme anyway, or something similar. I can't remember the name, but and I said to him, he's like, oh, this is great. I said, take a few steps back. He goes, oh, all right, so I'm going to turn down the treble. And he just couldn't dial it out, man. He had his favorite pedal with him and all that as well, trying to see if that worked. You know what we did? We went and got him a Supersonic 60, and it was friggin' awesome. So, yeah. And this is the thing, too. It's all subjective, right? I just know what I like, personally. There's going to be people that swear by the whole toppy sort of high-end thing. I just find, like, even on a Vox, you can dial that out. You know, Voxes tend to be more sort of bright on the top end. I just haven't heard one of those amps that made me go, wow, this is amazing. I'm yet to hear one that I like. Although, yeah, a mate of mine's got a 212, I don't know what it is, but it sounds better than his single 12-inch combo. 12-inch combo sounds like crap. It doesn't take pedals well, it gets heavily saturated. Yeah, and there's just so much hype around these amps online at the moment. It's like, yeah, here's $500, go promote them. I just don't feel like it's yeah, something weird's going on, man. So Kin Mason, Darren says, Shane, check out PJM Ministries YouTube channel. His latest video, I sold my Les Paul for a Harley Benton. Oh man, that's awesome. If that's good, I'll reshare it on Facebook. That's fantastic. I'll copy that now. I'll forget otherwise. So let me just make a copy of that. And yeah, that sounds pretty hilarious. So there we go. All right, got it. Thanks. There's a few people saying, Quentin says, I do not like Hughes and Kettner. Yeah, I just don't get it. I tried to, visually they're beautiful. They look like a really great amps, but it's that top end frequency thing that you just can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of it. Maybe you can. Maybe it requires some know-how, but yeah. Made in Japan Epiphones are great. Yep, absolutely. I think most of the Epiphones are good. I'll take Ed says, how do I rate the Bandits? I would take a Bandit any day, every day over a Hughes and Kettner. Every day over one of those Victory amps as well. You got like a 2,000, I don't know what they're worth here, 2 grand, maybe, give or take, versus $100 secondhand. I'd take the Bandit. I know a lot of people won't like that comment, but that's just speaking honestly. I'm one of those kind of guys too that, like, if I don't like something, I don't keep it. I don't just keep it for the sake of holding on to it. Like, if I didn't like the PV Bandit, I'd get rid of it, but I just find like it's the easiest amp I've got to plug in and just play. I don't need to have any of my pedals. I can just plug in and go. It's even more usable in a way than the Fender Blues Deluxe. The Fender Blues Deluxe probably sounds a bit better, in quotation marks, with my pedals. But in terms of just the straight amp without any effects, PV Bandit's hard to beat, man. Especially when you put the a different, you know, you don't have to upgrade the speaker, but I put one in there that works really well, the Texas Heat, and I think it's made it sound so good. A lot of amp companies shoot themselves in the foot by using generic speakers. They could sound instantly way better if you spent an extra $100 on the amp, but got a speaker that was just fantastic, you know. Have I collaborated with other YouTubers? Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to be doing one with Robert Baker pretty soon, which should be fun for those who missed the start of the stream. So we're putting together a little bit of a lesson and a jam, something like that. I'm not 100% certain yet. We're kind of working out the details, so that'll be fun. I'm also going to be doing some stuff with a couple of the other guys. Like I've always done the hangouts with like Tone King and Pixie Licks and Philip McKnight and all those guys, Kenneth Russell, Lando 27 Music, Aggie Fish, everybody. Back years ago before the whole opinion changed online, I interviewed Will's Easy Guitars because I felt like his YouTube channel was at one end of the spectrum on YouTube, right? Trolls, people creating fake accounts, and then I was on like the other side of it where I kept everything pretty clean and tidy, and you know, our personalities were very different. So I thought, you know what? Yeah, so I've collaborated with a whole lot of guys over the last more in the last 2 years than I have ever before. I'm going to be in the States hopefully for June. I got a friend's 40th over there, and I'm planning on meeting up with a few of the guys that you've seen on my channel prior, you know, in Hangouts and that as well, if it all goes well. So we'll see how it goes, and if any of them ever come to Melbourne, I'll definitely show them around and we can shoot some videos as well. That guy sold a 78 custom Les Paul because of Harley Benton's. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm going to have to check that out, Terry. That's awesome, man. If you want to break your playing up as well, I always say, like, get rid of the pick or start using it if you just play with your fingers, because there's clearly stuff you can do with a pick you can't do as easily with your fingers, but it works the other way. You know, getting those poppy notes. And all of those sort of like muting. I couldn't play that with it. Yeah, so playing with your fingers is definitely good. Are the new Bandits still good? That's a question I get a lot, actually. I think I don't know if I covered that on my gear rundown video. That'll be up later anyway. But basically, they're good, right? They're good, but I don't think they sound to my ear as nice as the older ones. And this isn't like a vintage amp thing or anything like that. It's just, look, I think the new ones look a whole lot better than the Red Stripe Bandit. The Red Stripe Bandit visually doesn't look good, but it sounds awesome, right? So that's why I kind of like that one. The Silver Stripe one's good as well, right? But it might not have the headroom of the red one. The new ones feel like they're louder than the Red Stripe Bandits, but they're not as nice sounding in my opinion. They're very hard sort of sound. I'd almost compare it to, say, playing a Fender DeVille, right, with two 12-inch speakers versus a Fender Twin. The Twin's got a harder kind of presence about it in terms of its note. It's not as smooth and round and full sounding, whereas the DeVille has that lush kind of tone. That's kind of how I would compare like the new Bandit to the older one. And not to say like the new ones aren't good, because they're a good amp, but it just depends on what kind of sound you like. I find them a very, very hard sort of tone. That's the way I kind of hear it. But, you know, everyone likes different stuff, you know. Nobody needs expensive gear to play well, and I'm proof expensive gear can't make you play any better. That's awesome. My friend Brian last night was using his $100 Silver Stripe PV Bandit at the jam, and it sounded great, man. I videotaped that as well. I think he's cool with me putting up some footage, so I'll chuck together a live clip of him rocking out on his PV Bandit, and it's unbelievable, man. You're right, it works both ways. The good gear can kind of influence the way you play, but or it can sort of inspire you in some ways, but it doesn't make you play better than you're capable of. I think you can get a really great sound out of less expensive stuff, no doubt about it. I said this to Rick, you know, whether or not I'm playing an American Strat or this one, or a Korean-made PRS or the American one, the American one's not going to make me a better guitar player. It's just not. I'm going to still play the same way that I play. So then I have to weigh up whether or not it's justified me spending an extra $3,000 on a guitar that won't make me play any better. And for me personally, I can't justify that right now. For those who have been to a blues jam and someone plays a blues knee, you're guaranteed to hear this. Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. I was actually going to sort of end the live stream about 40 minutes ago, but let's go back to this quickly. What was I on? I was on bridge pickup. Humbucker mode, bridge pickup, same settings. Here we go. That guitar shines on dirt, man. Now split. So it's way more bright. Speaking of amps, I know they're not a blues amp, but I'm a fan of orange amps. You know, I played one that was really great. It was I think it was a 40 watt single 12-inch speaker combo. And the clean was as good as any Fender amp I've played, and I should have taken a photo of it. I was like, I've never really given them the time of day either. Much like PRS guitars, I never really thought that much of them. But orange is just, I think the color of the amps is a bit obnoxious, but for a boring guy like myself, who always wears he's got like 9 of these t-shirts. But yeah, they do make some good stuff. Maybe I should give them another go at some point. My Bandit is a Solo 65. It doesn't have the stripe unless the silver bands on the sides make it a silver stripe. No, I think the Solo 65s were before that. They were sort of out when the teal stripe Bandits were kind of kicking around, I'm pretty sure. Maybe before that. I'd need to double check, but how's this? We've streamed for 2 hours and 28 minutes and we've got 1 minute left. Then I need to eat, man. And I have had no glitches in the stream. I finally worked out this setup. I can hit stream and it works. Fingers crossed. So it looks like we're all good. Should be streaming in HD and it's all been good. What amp am I using now? This is the Blues Deluxe going into my 2 notes. I've referenced the Swamp Thing. Dolly Parton said it best, if you spout off your political opinions, you piss half of your fans. I don't think I said anything about political stuff. I don't talk about that. I talk about opinions on gear. I talk about gear. I play some bad blues riffs. And I answer a million questions. I won't do that. Sorry, Pixie. I'll go like this. That's my thing. I do the thumbs up. Yep, Michael, or Mikhail, sorry, this is a 2017. I've got a couple of videos up. Type in left-handed PRS guitar. First 3 videos that come up, I think, are mine. So check it out if you want to find out more about it. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go because it's been ages and I need to move my back and legs. So, yeah, rock on. Thanks for hanging out and being a part of the stream. Hopefully, I can't wait to see if the sound was all good. No one was complaining, so I figure it's all good. Yeah. Have a great rest of the week. I know it's probably going on Monday there in the States, but it's nearly going on Tuesday here. So tonight, in a few hours' time, about 6 hours, I got a massive rundown of all my gear. It's a video. It's called a gear rundown, so I don't get flagged from Premier Guitar. Yeah, so I cover all my amps, all of my guitars, current pedal board, the blues wall, a bit about that sort of stuff, a little bit about what I record with as well. I get a lot of these questions, so I put a massive, massive video together. It's, I think, 45 minutes, and it's got time codes in the description, so you can click through and just get to the section you want to watch. You don't have to sit through the whole thing. So thanks so much. Thanks to everyone who used the super chat as well. Appreciate that. It's going into the Pepsi Max Fund as requested, so it keeps me alert and functioning. I like that. And yeah, we've got some stuff coming up with Rick as well. Once we get these videos done, we're going to film his new PRS, also film these other series of videos, which I think you'll get a kick out of, because these will, yeah, I think people will get a lot of either entertainment out of, or they're just going to be like, oh, I've always wondered that. Like, yeah, this is what I never get to do. So we're going to do those videos coming up. And I've got a couple of other pedal demos to finally get through, and then I'm done. I'm caught up, thank God. So, yeah, if you want first dibs on any of this stuff, check out my Patreon page. I don't post any exclusive content there, but you get first dibs on stuff that I get sent that I don't need to hold on to after I do the demo. That's how I pay my bills. So, rock on, guys. Take it easy. And yeah, give the video the thumbs up if you haven't already. I haven't been checking that, but yeah, we've had a lot of people here the entire time, so I appreciate that. And I'll leave you with one more bad blues riff. What should I play? All right, take care, guys. Have a good night, and I'll catch you very, very soon. Thanks for hanging out.